Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my third book haul that I'm posting in the past 2 weeks. And that is because I went to New York Comic Con last weekend and I got a lot of books and I really wanted to share them with you. So I thought it would be fun to do a separate book haul for this haul. So the beginning half of the video is going to be all of the books that I got, and then the second half of the video is going to be all of like the merchandise and stuff that I got. I'm gonna get started. First book that I'm gonna show you is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. I was really excited about this one because Julie was actually at New York Comic Con and she was signing the book and they were selling it a couple of days early. It didn't come out until the Tuesday after Comic Con, so I got a finished copy like a couple of days beforehand, which was really exciting, even though I've already read it. I really enjoyed this book. For those who don't know, it is an evil queen retelling, and it is a fantasy story that is heavily Asian inspired, and it is so beautifully written. The world is very immersive, and Shifeng is such an interesting main character. I kind of know what direction the story is going to go in because she's based on the evil queen, so clearly she's gonna be turning evil. But it's really exciting, like, and really interesting to just see her story play out. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the second book, and Julie is just one of the nicest people ever, so it was really nice to get her book and to be able to tell her how much I loved it, because the first time that I met her was when I was getting an arc of her book, so I was just like, I'm excited to read it, and this time I was like, oh my god, I love your book. And Alexa and I got a really cute photo with her. I might insert a picture of it right here. Julie posted it on her Instagram, but it was really nice to see her again, and I'm really happy to have this beautiful finished copy. And the spine is like snakeskin, and it's actually like one of the tall books, so I'm really feeling this. The next book that I got is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is a paperback copy of the book, which they were giving away for free and having Catherine sign it. So I was like, yes, I totally want that, because I have really wanted to read this book for a while. I have a feeling that I'm going to love it and that I'm going to end up wanting to purchase a hardcover of it because the second one's coming out and I'm going to want to get that one, so you know how it goes. But Catherine was so sweet, and it was really funny. Like, when I went up to get my book signed, she was like, is your shirt from Madewell? And I was like, yes. And I was like, is your shirt from Madewell? And she was like, yes. And Alexa was just shaking her head at me, and she's like, you would know, like, that her shirt is Madewell. And Catherine was like, you just get so into it, like, you just know. And I was like, I literally know the entire stock that Madewell has, like, at all times. It's kind of a problem. And then I saw Catherine actually 3 of the 4 days of New York Comic Con, and every single day she was wearing Madewell things, and I was like, this is just so funny. But I really liked her as a person, so that also got me even more excited to read this book. This is an adult fantasy novel, and it is a Russian fantasy, and I know that it takes place in like the Russian wilderness, and there's this like beautiful cabin on the front with the snow, so I'm very excited about this one. The next book that I got is actually an ARC, and that is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. It is a fantasy novel. I really like the cover for it. This is a novel that's coming out in January of 2018, and it follows a girl named Odessa, and she lives and rules in this like kingdom of the dead. I obviously haven't read it yet, so I'm not really 100% clear on the magic that like is involved in this, but I know that it has a lot of ties to necromancy. I also know that this is an LGBTQIA+ novel. I think the main character Odessa is actually bisexual, and the author identifies as bisexual as well. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've heard really good early reviews of it, so I've been looking to get my hands on it, and I was really excited when they had it at Comic-Con. The next 2 ARCs that I have to show you are from Macmillan, and they are 2 of my most anticipated releases for next year, so I was like thrilled to be able to get my hands on these. They were doing an ARC drop, and they had 2 potential options. Both of them were 2 of my most anticipated, so I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do here, because they said that you were only able to choose 1 book. So thankfully I had Andrew with me, and he also stood and waited on the line along with Alexa and Alexa's husband Mackie, and we had our husbands pick up 1 book and we picked up the other book, so that way we were able to get both of them. And I'm just so happy because I seriously would never have been able to decide between one or the other. The first one that I got is Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. This is the second book in the Daughter of the Pirate King series, and I really enjoyed the first book, so I'm really excited about this. It follows pirates. There's a girl named Alosa who is the Pirate King's daughter, and she is just like a fierce, badass female character, and I really loved reading about her. I'm really looking forward to reading the second one and seeing where the story goes, because the way that the first one left off, I was just like, ah, like give me more. So now I can read it and I don't have to wait until February. And then the other one that I got that I'm so excited about is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. And this book is another fantasy novel, and this one is actually inspired by The Little Mermaid. I love mermaids, and there are not too many mermaid books, so I've been really wanting to read this one because I just have really high hopes for it. I want a really good mermaid book in my life, and I feel like this could be that book. So pretty much what happens is Princess Lyra, who is like the Ariel in this story, she is this like really feared mermaid. She has the hearts of 17 princes, and then something happens and it forces her to kill one of her own. So I guess one of the other mermaids she ends up killing, and her mom is really pissed about that, and her mom is like Ursula in this story. So she turns her daughter, who's a mermaid, into a human as a form of punishment, and then Princess Lyra needs to go and hunt Prince Aelian, who is like our Prince Eric in the story, and I believe Prince Aelian is also trying to hunt Princess Lyra. So it sounds like it has a really interesting plot and it has a lot of potential, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. Then I also got a little sampler of Wires and Nerves Volume 2 by Marissa Meyer, and I loved the first volume of this graphic novel. I love that Iko is the main character. I'll probably read a little bit of this, but I probably won't read the sampler until like the night before the graphic novel comes out, because I always find it so hard to read samplers because I end up wanting more of the story. I hate just reading an incomplete story, so I usually tend to save them until like right when I'm gonna pick up the book, if that makes sense. The next book that I have to show you is another ARC, and that is Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. This is another fantasy novel. I don't know if you're sensing a theme here. I've just been reading so much fantasy lately, and that really seems to be like what is grabbing my attention. This follows a girl named Theodosia, and she has been captured and held captive within her own kingdom. I believe the rest of her family was killed. She's crowned Ash Princess, which is a title of shame. She's been subject to ridicule and abuse, living in the palace that really should be hers, and she decides that she has had enough and it is time for her to overtake the castle and to be the actual ruler of the kingdom that she's supposed to be in charge of. And the reason that this one sounds so intriguing to me is because the back emphasizes that not all strength involves battlefields. Theo is actually like a really intelligent princess, and she's going to be using her wits in order to win her rightful spot on the throne, and that sounds really good to me. Right after we had gotten a copy of this, Laura happened to be waiting near the line, and our friend Julie happened to know who she was, so Laura came and she signed my book and Alexa's book and Lily's book and Julie's book, and we were all really happy about that, and I know all of us are really excited to read it. This one does not come out until April of next year. The next book that I have to show you is an ARC of Artemis by Andy Weir. This one's coming out in November, and it is Andy Weir's follow-up novel. His first novel is The Martian, which I'm sure everyone is aware of. This is another sci-fi novel, and it also takes place in space, but it follows a girl named Jazz, and it's actually more of like a thriller novel, and she's going to be trying to pull off this heist, so it sounds like it's going to be super great, and I cannot wait to read this one. And then at the same time that I got this one, I also picked up a copy of Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. Kristen Ritter plays Jessica Jones, or Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, and lots of other really amazing characters on a ton of television shows that I really enjoy, and movies. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This book also comes out in November. This one is also a thriller novel, and follows a main character named Abby, and Abby has pretty much done everything that she can to get away from her small town life. She's moved to Chicago, she's become this like high-powered lawyer, and then she ends up getting this really high-profile case, and it brings her right back to her small town in Indiana, and she's forced to investigate this company, which is like the biggest company in their town, and suddenly she's finding all of these connections between this company, this current case that she's working on, and the disappearance of a girl named Casey who she knew when she used to live in the town. So this is another thriller novel. I don't want to know too much more about it going into it, but I think I'm going to read it very soon because October is a really great month for thrillers, and it just sounds like it's going to be like a really exciting page turner, and I'm so curious to read Kristen Ritter's writing because I love her acting. And the next book that I got is also a thriller, and that is People Like Us by Dana Melly. This follows a girl named Kay who goes goes to a school called Bates Academy. I love that it has like the school outfits on the front cover. That is really what like drew me into this book. And then once I heard the synopsis, I was like, okay, now I'm even more interested. Like I said, this one is also a thriller, and Kay goes to this prestigious academy, and one day one of the students' bodies ends up turning up in this lake, and it turns out that the girl who has died in this lake left a scavenger hunt of clues for Kay to try to figure out exactly what happened to her and find her murderer. So Kay just keeps, you know, following all the clues, and then she's finding suspect after suspect, and Kay is getting really involved in this case. So at Bates Academy, the truth is something that you make, not something that happened. So that sounds really interesting, and again, thrillers are always so fun to me because they're just such quick reads and they really hold your interest, and they're like nice, mindless books to read, in my opinion. And this one comes out in February of 2018. The next one that I have to show you're all gonna be like, what? So I got another copy of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. They were giving out ARC copies of this at the novel, and I sent my copy off in June so that somebody can make candles for me, and I've been dying to reread it since then. So when I saw that they were giving out copies, I was like, yes, I need another one. I need to reread a certain 5 scenes that are coming to mind. But I really want to reread the entire book before it comes out in January, but particularly there are some scenes that have just stuck with me that I'm like, I just want to read those again, and now I can, and I'm so happy. This one comes out on January 2nd, and as you know, this is my favorite book that I read this year so far. I don't really see anything topping it in the near future, but you never know. Then I got the new Tamara Pierce book, Tempests and Slaughter. This one comes out in February of 2018, and I don't really know too much about this. To be honest, I have not yet read any of Tamara Pierce's books yet, but Alexa is obsessed with her. She's one of her favorite authors, so I have been really wanting to do so, and Alexa actually gave me a box set of her Lioness Quartet for Christmas last year, and I still haven't read it, but I'm planning on doing so. I know that like most of her books take place in the same world, so I don't want to really read anything else until I have a foundation in some of her other works. We went to a panel that she did, and actually this book is signed by her, and she signed one of my other books as well, and she just seemed like the sweetest lady, and she was really intelligent, and listening to her speak about fantasy was really inspiring, so I'm really looking forward to getting into some of her works. From that same panel, I also got an ARC of City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is her debut novel, and this is a Middle Eastern fantasy, and it's inspired by like 1001 Nights and The Golem and the Jinni and The Grace of Kings, and it sounds really, really interesting. I hadn't heard of this book beforehand, so I wasn't planning on getting it, but the way that she was talking about it got me really interested in it, and it really sounded like something that would be up my alley. I believe this is actually adult fantasy, and this one is coming out in November, so it's going to be coming out very soon for anyone who is looking to read it. Then I got an ARC of Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. Rachel Hartman's the author of Seraphina and Shadowscale, which is a duology that involves dragons, which I have not read. I know that the main character in this book is actually a character that you meet in the second book in Shadowscale, but from what Alexa has told me, you don't necessarily have to read those in order to read this new book because it's just going to be focusing on this character, but it's her separate story. So while it is set within the same world, it's not part of a series. I've always been interested in checking out one of her books, but like I said, I haven't read the other ones yet. So I'm debating whether I want to read one of those first or if I want to dive right into this one. And Tess of the Road is coming out in February of 2018. Then I got His Majesty's Dragon. This is the first book in the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. I have been really interested in this series. Naomi was actually there signing books, so they were giving out a copy of this book, and then I also got a copy of my hardcover of Uprooted signed, so that was exciting. I got a whole bunch of books signed and added to my signed book collection, and I think I'm going to do a video about that soon because I've just been like going to so many events and getting so many things signed. But I have been interested in this series for a while. It takes place during the Napoleonic Wars, except there's dragons. But the one thing is that I've been a little bit intimidated by it because this series has like something like 12 books in it or something. So it's a high fantasy series. It sounds really good. I do enjoy dragons and I do want to start it, but I just never picked up any of the books. So this was a really good chance to do so. I've also heard, I don't know if it's still necessarily the case, but there had been a podcast that I was listening to a while ago, and I heard that the series actually got picked up by Peter Jackson to be adapted into film. So that's pretty cool too, and that definitely piqued my interest. The next book that I got is White Rabbit by Caleb Roehrig. So he actually wrote another novel called Last Seen Leaving, and that came out a couple of months ago, and that was a thriller, and this one is also a thriller. That one was supposedly really good, but I haven't read it. But this one also sounds like it's going to be really good. It follows a guy named Rufus, and he just gets a call from his ex-boyfriend Sebastian. This is that they need to talk, so they meet up, and he goes to see him, and then he gets a call from his sister April, and she says that she needs help. So him and Sebastian go to help his sister April, and then they find her in the woods next to the dead body of her boyfriend Fox, and she's holding a knife and she is covered in his blood, but she's insisting that she didn't kill him. But from what Rufus is saying in the synopsis, his sister is not necessarily known for telling the whole truth. So she needs their help to try to cover up what happened, and they want to find out what actually happened. And apparently they also need something from her. So this is another thriller novel. This is coming out from Macmillan in April of 2018. If you don't know, like, one of the best things to do is during Comic-Con, there are a ton of publishers that have booths set up and they're selling books to you. But if you wait until the last day of Comic-Con, like, as the day goes on and as it gets later, the prices tend to drop because people don't really want to have to carry all of the books back to their office or back to their warehouse or wherever they would be going. So usually if you're going to do any book shopping during Comic-Con, it's best to wait until that last day. So on that last day, one of the only things that I bought was The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin and The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, and these are the second and third books in the... I can't remember what the name of the series is, but the first book is called The Fifth Season, and I read that last month, and while I had a little bit of a rough start, the second half of the novel definitely intrigued me, and I'm interested to see where the story's going. And the second book here, The Obelisk Gate, that won the Hugo Award, so I definitely want to read this one. And The Stone Sky just came out very recently. Oh, The Broken Earth, that's what it's called. It's called the Broken Earth Trilogy. So they had a deal where it was buy one, get one for free. So I was like, what better chance to pick these up? So I got the two books for like $16, and they normally would be $16 each, so I'm pretty excited about that, and now I can read these. And then finally I got Zenith by Sasha Ellsberg and Lindsay Cummings, and this is an upcoming sci-fi novel, and it is the first one in the Andromeda saga, and Lindsay and Sasha were there signing. They were actually with Julie, so I got that during that same signing event, and it sounds like it's going to be really interesting. I honestly don't know too much about this book, but I know that a lot of people that have read it seem to enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to reading it as well. Then moving on to some other stuff, I have some like posters and bookmarks and artwork and all that kind of stuff to show you. The first thing that I will show you is the shirt that I'm wearing that says Be a Dragon. This is from Jordan Dene. She just started making some sweatshirts, and I have really wanted to get my hands on one, but I didn't know like what the sizing would be like, so I wanted to see it in person. So I got this one. This is a size medium if you're curious, and it fits me very well. So I got this, and then I also got another t-shirt from her. This is a blue t-shirt, and it says "You're a wizard," and I love it. And this was probably one of the only Harry Potter t-shirts that she's made that I didn't already own, so I knew that I wanted this, and Comic-Con was a good excuse to pick it up. And then the rest of the things that I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to film a little bit differently. So I'm going to show them like kind of like I do in my vlogs, where I show you like on the floor so that you can see everything a little bit closer up. So that's it for the book portion of this video, and the rest of it is going to be merchandise. I got a bunch of stuff from Minalima that I am obsessed with, and a couple of other things. Okay, so the first two pieces of merchandise that I got are both Funko Pops. My friend Kelly really saved me with these. So first up I have Sailor V, and if you turn her over, you can see her adorable little bow. And then over here we've got the Boggart dressed as Snape in Neville's grandma's clothing. I think this one is so cute. His back is not that exciting, but I just love it, and I love that he has a little purse. I was so excited about this one. So thank you so much, Kelly, for winning the Funko lottery and getting these for me. This next thing is just impossible to get to stay still because it was rolled up into a circle, but it is a poster of the new Name of the Wind cover by Patrick Rothfuss. I have like two books trying to hold it down, but it is just so hard. The booth that was selling it, I was just drooling over the 10th anniversary edition, and they were like, have you bought a copy? So I was like, I pre-ordered it, but then I canceled my pre-order because Patrick Rothfuss is signing at Barnes & Noble on Monday, so I'm getting it then. And she was like, well, if you buy it here, you get a poster. And I was like, I already have 5 copies of this book. And she was like, you do? So I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, well, you seem like a real fan. So she gave me a poster anyway, so I was very excited about this. And then she also gave me a tote bag of the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is the name of the Wind series by Patrick Rothfuss. Next up, so Minalima had a booth at Comic-Con and they had this limited edition print of Harry Potter. It's so beautiful and I am really excited because my friend actually bought it for me. It just has around it all of the different artwork that Minalima has designed for the Harry Potter movies. There's the chocolate frog and the Marauder's map. It's just gorgeous. So Minalima is the one booth where I spent like all of my money, and I got so many postcards from them. That was really what the bulk of my purchase was. These three actually came together in like a little bundle. It's all of the Daily Prophet, the proclamations, and the like undesirable posters. And then over here I got a bundle of all of the Weasley's postcards. So each of them has like a ton of different postcards included. I think there's like 12 or something in each, but I could be wrong. And then I got these Weasley pins, and I also got Hogwarts house buttons. So I actually turned them over, and it shows you on the back which postcards are included in the set, just so that you guys can see exactly what it is. I was so, honestly, like so excited when I saw these. I was just like, think of all the Instagram photos. I cannot wait to use like actual Minalima prints in my Instagram photos. I'm so excited. Next up, the tour booth had these lovely trading cards from the Vicious series by Victoria Schwab. The first one is Serena, the second one is Victor Vale, the third one is Sydney, and then the fourth one there is actually supposed to be Victoria pulling all of the strings because she's the writer of the series. I believe there were actually 5. I seem to be missing one. I really thought that I had all of them, so I might be using Eli as a bookmark somewhere, but I'm not sure. And if I'm not, I'm gonna need to find that last card because I can't be missing one of them. I just found Eli. He was hiding in my pile, so I do have all 5 of them. Woohoo! So then the first day I had a poster immediately and I was like, this is horrible. I am not getting any more posters because I don't want to carry them. And within 5 minutes of walking on the floor, I saw a Hazelwood poster and I was like, yep, I need that. I love that book. So I got this from Macmillan. Then these are just a couple of bookish goodies that I got. This first print is from the Mortal Instruments manga. I believe it's Alec, but I'm not 100% sure. Then I got this really cute little decal from The Cruel Prince from the novel booth. Then I got a Your Name bookmark, and if you actually flip it, it has the other main character on the other side. These 2 bookmarks I got from Ashley Poston. The first one is for Geekarella, and the second one is for Heart of Iron, which is her upcoming sci-fi novel. And then I also got a Last Magician bookmark. And now for the artwork. The first print that I got is from Minalima. They were actually doing a signing at the Macmillan booth for the beautiful editions of books that they do. So you had the choice between the Jungle Book or Beauty and the Beast, and I obviously chose the Beauty and the Beast. And it is signed by both of the designers from Minalima, so pretty excited about that. The next 2 prints that I got are from Jordan Gibson. They were like mini prints, and I actually already have a full-size print of this one, which is Lana Lang and Superman, and they're sharing a milkshake, and I love it. I think it's adorable. This one I fell in love with because it's Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, and I just love Gigi's face. I think it's so funny, and they just look super cute together, and I love that she has the witch's hat on, so these were no question buys for me. Then I got this little mini Sailor Moon print and this Cardcaptor Sakura print. These are by this artist, Shori, or Victoria Robato. I actually bought manga from her. She has her own manga that I got at Baltimore Comic Con a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago. I have not actually read it yet, but I really do enjoy her artwork, so that reminded me that I have to get to that very soon. Next up, I have an art print from Penelope Gaylord, and I actually have some other art prints from her. I have all of her Sailor Scouts if you watched my Sailor Moon art video. This one is obviously of Rapunzel from Tangled, and she had a deal where you could buy 2 of them for $30, so I got another one. And this one is Ariel and Prince Eric in their adorable kissing scene on the water, and I love that Sebastian and Flounder are in there. I just think it's so pretty. I want her to draw the lantern scene from Tangled. Next up, I got this Overwatch print, which is not for me. This is actually for Andrew because he enjoys playing this game. I just like this character here, Diva, because she's always in like really cute outfits, and she has a really cool pink mech that she's in. This is by Chrissy Zulu. So this is the first piece that I got from her. This one is for me. This is also by Chrissy Zulu, and this is a really gorgeous Beauty and the Beast print. I just thought that this one was so beautiful. I love that it really captured like the darkness of the Beast, and the whole color scheme is pretty dark too, because I feel like most of the time when there's Beauty and the Beast art, it's usually in like the bright colors of like the stained glass and stuff, but it really is like a gothic, like French story, and I just felt like this was like perfect. And then also from her, I got this really pretty Princess Leia piece. She actually had a deal where if you buy 2 art prints, you can get one for free, so this was the one that I chose to get for free. Then I went to Jen Bartel's booth and I got this gorgeous print of Saga. She drew like all of the characters. I think that this might have actually been an alternate cover for Saga at one point. This is Andrew's favorite character. And yeah, last year I bought pretty much every print at her booth, so I had a lot of what she was already selling, but I couldn't pass this one up. She also had bookmarks, so I got this Little Mermaid bookmark. I also got this print from Peter Nguyen, and it is like the evolution of Robins. I love that it has Stephanie Brown here in her Robin and Batgirl costumes, and then we have Jason Todd as Robin and Red Hood. Then we have Dick Grayson, my favorite ever, as Robin and Nightwing. We've got Tim Drake as Robin and Red Robin. And then we've got Damian Wayne, who is my least favorite Robin. Not too much a fan of him. I don't remember this artist's name, but I got a bunch of art from her last year. I think her stuff is so beautiful. A lot of it is like pinup style, so some of it is a little bit racier, but it's really beautiful. So first up, I have Effie Trinket with all of her butterflies. Then I've got the Black Lady from Sailor Moon. And then down here, I was so excited. I have Death and Delirium from Neil Gaiman's Sandman series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. And that character, Death, is what I have my tattoo for. Next up, I have this poster of all the characters from the Shades of Magic series by Victoria Schwab. The artwork is by Kevin Wada, who I love. So I'm really excited about this poster. They actually had standees, like life-size standees of each of them every day, and then they were raffling them off. And Andrew was like, please don't win one of those. Next up, I got 2 art prints from Ariel Jovality. I don't know how to say her last name. But the first one, I really fell in love with. I think it is so cool. It's from Adventure Time. So it has Marceline. It's Marceline and the Scream Queens, like her band. And then at the bottom here, you've got Princess Bubblegum. And I just think it's so much fun. Like, it looks like an actual concert poster. And I love the colors. And then she had a 2 for $20 deal, so I could not pass up this Hamilton poster. We've got the majority of the cast on here. And again, I really like the colors on this one too. And then this is the last thing that I have to show you. I sadly do not remember the artist, but I love this Avatar of the Last Airbender print. It has lots of characters on it. So the middle, I believe, was like the first Avatar, and then there's Appa, and there's Aang. Looks like Aang's an adult. There's the guy with the dragon, and one of the Kyoshi warriors. Oh, that is Kyoshi. And then down there, yeah, we've got Korra, and a koi fish. So I like that it has all of the avatars. I think it's really pretty, and it's like Asian inspired art, which I think is nice.